Welcome to the first episode of 2021 of Las Vegas Weekly's Second Helping Food Podcast. I'm Brock, here with Leslie and Genevie, and we are excited to be back for another year of talking about the food we are obsessed with and the people in Las Vegas that are making everything delicious. You are excited, Leslie, I can tell.
I'm so excited. I'm fist pumping right now. You just can't see me.
It's February, which is obviously one of the sweetest months of the year, but instead of focusing today on heart-shaped boxes of chocolates and all that stuff, we've got pastry on our minds.
Absolutely. All things pastry on our minds today. Yeah, so a few days ago, it was National Croissant Day, and so yeah, I feel like it's really appropriate because A, there was National Croissant Day, and then B, Valentine's Day, like you said, yeah, it's chocolate, it's sweets, but like what's a way to level up? And I was thinking, pastries, baked goods, things that are like little sweet delicacies. And I think one of my favorite places to go for all things delicious is Cafe Brej. I don't know if I'm saying that right, but it's a place on
Fort Apache.
It's a French bakery and coffee shop, and everything they do there is just fantastic. Their croissants are wonderful. Their macaroons are just like divine, and they have so many unique flavors like rose and lavender and, of course, pistachio and chocolate and all that good stuff. But yeah, they just have everything that I like. And it's near my boyfriend's house. So, we'll walk there in the mornings and grab a coffee and a sweet. And it's just a good vibe all around. It makes me feel like, I feel like I say this a lot, and it's not that I'm hating on Vegas, but it makes me feel like I'm not in Vegas, which I think is really important right now because we're all getting a little stir crazy. So yeah, I'm going to throw it back to you guys. What is one of your favorite bakeries in town?
Another one of my bakery standbys in the same part of town is La Belle Terre. I know that we've talked about this place and written about it over the years. And I think they have new ownership from a few years ago, but just amazing stuff. And to me, the most important part of the bakery experience is the case, right? Going in there and seeing all the delicious things and trying to choose which you're gonna eat, which you're gonna take home to eat later. That's something that I always do at La Belle Terre.
Definitely. What about you, Genevie?
I also love croissants more than anything. My favorite is actually in the Southwest, I think also Rosalie Cafe.
Oh yeah, Rosalie's so good.
Talk about a place that kind of like transports you to another place. That place is very French to me. It's just a quaint little cafe, and their almond croissants are just to die for. And the other place closer to home that I actually frequent a lot is Le Café Duval, which is it's next to Valley Cheese and Wine and Horizon Ridge. It's newish, but I think they're the same people who did Café du Lac in the faraway place, otherwise known as like Las Vegas. That
is what it's called. I think it's whole promotional material, the faraway place.
The faraway place where there are no grocery stores nearby. That's how I remember it. But Café Duval is, I think, the sister place of Café du Lac. Also, excellent croissants. Those apple turnovers, they're just delicious. And also just a cute little place to hang out and work. Obviously, there's not a lot of people inside, but it's a really great place. When you go in there and there's nobody there, it's just great to like have a little cup of coffee and like a pastry. But I'm totally with you, Leslie. I'm all about the croissants.
Let me ask this question. Since we're on the croissant thing, I always struggle, chocolate or almond?
Plain.
I
like a giant, buttery, crispy, soft on the inside, preferably warmed, but doesn't need to be, croissant. And like, if it's good, it should stand alone. Like, you don't need anything on that.
That's a good point. Which one?
I think probably for me, it depends on the day and what time it is. Like if it's a little bit later, I'll definitely go for an almond croissant. But if I want just, I haven't eaten anything that day or in that morning, I will definitely go for a plain croissant. But if I'm a little more awake, I will definitely go for almond. For some reason, never chocolate. I don't know why.
Yeah, I don't know. There's something about like the richness of a croissant that the chocolate is just overpowering. And then it doesn't even really taste like a croissant anymore. I can get on the almond train a little bit, like here and there. One of the cool things about, I don't know, just all the assortment of bakeries that we have is it's not just one thing, right? It's not like, yes, Great Buns does bread and Freed's does cakes, but a lot of places kind of do a little bit of everything. So like Gabbie, as an example, which was so trendy like 2 years ago, or when they opened like a year and a half to 2 years ago, in Chinatown, they have, first of all, no one's going out right now, but the experience of going inside Gabbie is so wonderful. It's like walking into a storybook, like a little fantasy land. It's so pretty and quaint.
It's very magical in there.
Yeah, it's so magical. And then because we're in the theme of obviously Valentine's Day, they have this strawberry matcha like tea cake that is divine. And I haven't had it in like over a year, and it's so, so, so good. So I definitely love Gabbie. I feel like everything they do there is good, and it's just really unique. And really just like Chinatown in general. I know we've written about 85C or 85 degrees, and that place is another like just total experience, because is it I forget, is it a transplant from Tokyo?
Taiwan.
Taiwan. Yeah. And just the experience of just like going in, you have, first of all, a huge line usually because people know about it, but then you get your tray, like your little lunch tray, and then you go into each little like plastic box and like grab your pastry with tongs. And it's just like something I've never seen. And then you can get your tea or boba or coffee or whatever. And I don't know. I think the more kinds of like unique experiences we get in Vegas, the better.
I love the different cultural things that we learn through bread and pastry. There's a German bakery that opened not too far from me in Henderson. And I went in there to talk to the guy who owns it. And he talked about importing all these grains, like starter grains he brings it straight from Germany because it doesn't grow anywhere else. So that's how he starts all his bread and like all these things that like you never even think about. And he's there always like sampling all these like, different breads that he makes. It's kind of interesting. There's also pastries at that place. I think it's called Froscher, German cafe. They have an outpost out in the middle of nowhere, Utah. When you're going to Bryce, it's like right on the side of the road, like this German bakery out in Orderville, Utah. Now the second location is here. But this guy who owns it is super like knowledgeable about bread and pastry and things like that. So I definitely recommend that one.
I'll have to check that out. I also love Saga Pastry and Sandwich, which obviously it's like another one of those, right? It's Scandinavian food. And yeah, you can go there and just get like savory foods, but their dessert and bake case is so good. There's like a Norwegian holiday, and I don't know what it's called, but it's like you only get this cake for like a month and then you don't get it anymore. And so Saga Pastry will sell that when that, traditional holiday is happening. And so, yeah, you can learn a lot about the cuisine there. And I think they get some of their baked goods from another really popular bakery in town. And I don't know its name. Genevieve?
Oh, I think it's, I want to say it's Fleming's.
Yes. Yeah.
Like in Water Street, like downtown.
Yeah.
Like downtown Henderson or Old Henderson, but it's on Water Street.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So I love everything that they're doing over there. Like their waffles, you can also do like savory or sweet. yeah, I'm totally with you. Just like getting that unique experience. And then maybe one of my last ones that I'll rattle off here is just the Bouchon Bakery. I feel like that's just like, you have to try it. You know, you have to if you're on the Strip. Lastly, the one that I have not tried, which I don't even know if I should admit that on a food podcast, but Sweets Raku, which like, you know, we'll drop a little hint to my boyfriend. Take me there for Valentine's Day. No, I'm kidding.
Make a reservation for sure.
Yeah, maybe when the pandemic's over.
Yeah, that's such a unique destination. You know, it's really a dessert restaurant. It's a whole experience that I don't think there's another place in town like it. And there's probably a lot of cities that don't have anything like that. It's not the same thing as what we're talking about, where you go into a bakery and pick things out. That's really like, you're going to be there for a while. You're going to have multiple courses of just dessert for a meal, which is heaven. I don't think anybody would object to that. Yeah, that's a really special place for sure.
Super experiential places too, where you're like, what you're eating is really a piece of art in a way, because it's so beautiful. And to see it made in front of you, it's really cool.
Oh, they make it in front of you too?
Yeah, wow. It's a whole experience. Like, I think it's like what Brock said, it's multi-courses. So you choose, you know, what you're from a menu, from like a sort of like a set menu, and you pick your desserts. And it's, yes, I mean, you have to spend like an hour, at least an hour and a half being there. It's really good.
It's like going out to a fancy dinner at another restaurant, except it's all desserts. Now that you mentioned this place, you know, I don't know if you guys are doing this, but I am making my list of not just restaurants that I want to go to when things are back to normal, but like places that I don't want to go until things are back to normal, because I want to enjoy them at their fullest, you know, and I'm adding this to the list.
That's a good idea. I need to make a list like that too.
That is a super solid list of bakeries and sweet spots for everybody to check out this month. We also have a cool conversation to share with a pastry expert. You're up, Genevie.
I recently called up pastry chef Karis Kawada to talk about all things dessert. I first tried Karis's creations when she was the pastry chef at Yardbird in the Venetian, and she sure cooked up some amazing things like pecan pies and other southern-inspired treats. One of her recent projects is Al Solito Pasto at Tivoli Village, and she will also be launching her own line of sweets next month at Coffee Bean and Tea Leaf. Definitely check her out when you get a chance. She's one of the most talented pastry chefs working in the city today. Keris, who do you work for?
I am the corporate pastry chef for Lev Group, and Lev Group does a number of restaurants, and we have, just for instance, we had Ada's, which James Trees has, Gina at La Strega. La Strega is one of our concepts. We also have a few of the smaller fast casual restaurants called Lobster Me. And we just recently opened up Al Solito and a new restaurant coming out, which is Steak LP. So some really exciting stuff that's popping up. But I think this company is just like absolutely amazing. It's just funny because I'm like, I've never heard of Lev Group before, but I've heard of all these other restaurants. So they are definitely the company that's behind all of these really cool restaurants.
Wow. So that sounds like an exciting job to oversee the program for all those restaurants.
Oh my gosh. I mean, it's just, it's a dream come true because you not only just like, your focus isn't just on the restaurants itself. We have a concept for Coffee Bean and Tea Leaf. So we do the pastry program there. So not only am I like running a bakery, there's also the restaurant aspect and like a to-go aspect of it all. And it's definitely made me a very well-rounded pastry chef altogether. And it's a learning experience. I wish everybody could experience it because it's definitely fun. Lots of fun.
So when did your interest start in pastry?
In pastry, let's see. So A fun story. I was into diamonds for a while back. So I actually graduated with a gemology degree, and I loved it. I was always into design, but I never knew exactly what I wanted. But we were decorating Easter eggs with my cousins, and I was like, you know what, this is absolutely amazing. And then my cousins, the following week, they had they wanted to do some cookie decorating, and I'm like, I just want to do this. I forget what I'm doing. I wanna do something that's more fun, where like I have my creativity and I love food. I mean, why not? Why not go and do something with pastries? So I quit my job as a gemologist, and downstairs was a very small cookie shop called Hokulani Bakery. And it's a small Hawaii cookie company, and I worked for $7 an hour as a cookie decorator, and it was a really fun experience. And I think basically all we did was like cookies and cupcakes, but you never realize how much fun a job could be when you can't wait to like wake up and do your job, or when you're on your day off and you can't stop thinking about what design you want to do next on a cupcake or a cookie. It's the best feeling in the world to find out what you want to do in life.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's how I got involved. And then I went to a fine dining restaurant, and oh my God, then I found out what hard work was. That's a different story. I never cut or burned myself so much in my entire life, and I made so much mistakes. But it's part of learning, and it's definitely part of the kitchen experience, because any chef will tell you that they were not the best when they first started. I mean, you're like the absolute worst, and nobody wants to work with you. Like when you're the very first child that kind of walks into the kitchen, you're like, oh yeah, this is great. You're like, oh God, I'm going to have to teach them everything and make sure that the blender isn't fully blasted on when you plug it in and everything. Like that's what happened to me. Like we made strawberry syrup. I put it into the blender, and as soon as I plugged it in, it went all over the ceiling and actually on top of my chef's head.
Oh, no.
It was the worst, and I really thought I was going to get fired that day, but they were very nice to me. Well, in some perspective, I can't really put that on the podcast. Like, they were nice to me, which they didn't have me scrub the floors. And that was like, one of the many mistakes that any cook will learn as you go along.
But I bet you never did it again after that one time.
Yeah, you're right. I never do it again. It's just too bad I've made all the mistakes.
So you also worked in the Strip, right? You were at Yardbird, right? So how was that experience?
I worked at Yardbird. I'm from Yardbird.
Mm-hmm.
I was their corporate chef as well. So we did Chica, and we worked on the pool upstairs, and there were a few concepts in Miami. I mean, they're a great company called 50 Eggs. Mm-hmm. And it was super fun because, it's American desserts, and American desserts are like super sweet, and you like piles of pancakes with like syrup and confetti, confetti cakes. And I mean, all those things. They were really, they let me be creative with a peach cobbler. And we did this large format peach cobbler on the Strip, and that was fantastic. And I also give credit to, I worked with Vincent, who's now at Mon Ami Gabbie, but we were at Oriole together for Charlie Palmer. And they also gave me a lot of like creativity, just creative, like free creativity to do a lot of desserts as well. So there's a few places on the Strip that I have been to. And I mean, you just, I'm from Hawaii, to be a small person from Hawaii, to make it in a large casino and just kind of walk around and like, oh yeah, I'm the pastry chef there. It really is something to like feel proud of.
Yeah.
Yeah. And especially with really good chefs like Vincent and Charlie Palmer. Yeah.
So for you, what makes a good dessert? I mean, what makes a good pastry in your opinion?
Okay. So, I think salt has a lot to do with it. People underestimate, like, with pastries, there's this guy that I like to follow, like Salt and Straw. And then Salt just kind of like, just says it all. Salt and Straw, he had these ice creams that are not only like, they're just not your conventional ice creams. They have them all over in LA and then San Francisco. And then they have one like, we're in Disney, the downtown Disney area. And sometimes when I go down there, I go and I have like either their olive oil ice cream or their chocolate ice cream. And salt has so much to do with like a dessert. I mean, you have no idea. It brings out a balance of the sweetness. And I hate to say it, like, people always say, oh, you don't say umami, but it really is a balance of flavor. And I think salt has a lot to do with it. It doesn't have to be too sweet, just like Japanese desserts. It doesn't have to be too sweet. You just kind of have the ingredients as they are. Mm-hmm. They're just delicious.
Well, I can tell you that I discovered Salt and Straw's ice cream recipe, and I have been making it all winter. It's insane. It's really good.
Which one? I mean, they're so good.
Their base ice cream is genius. The way they don't use eggs and they use xanthan gum for a thickener. Right. It is so good. I've made the brownie chocolate one.
That's my favorite one.
Oh my gosh, it's so good. It is incredible. And when you make that brownie from scratch with the marshmallow cream, it is so
incredible.
Good. But so I had a standard base for my ice cream, and it was always egg based. I don't know why. I like the richness of it, but it's a lot of eggs. It's a lot of egg yolks.
Right.
Then I discovered that recipe. I'm like, I haven't made a custard-based ice cream in a while because I'm addicted to that recipe.
It's so good. And and like I said, you have that recipe and there's salt in it, or, he incorporates. And you never think that he's like, I'm going to do a turkey dinner ice cream. Like, what is that? Like, that sounds so weird. But whatever he does, it works. But he has that balance of sweetness and salt, and it's important. Mm-hmm. I love his stuff.
Yeah, so it's been like a few years now, but I think the American palate has really started to get into that sweet, salty combo that is just so addictive, right? Like we started seeing that a few years ago with salted caramels and things like that. So that makes sense to like have, the salt and the sweet.
Right.
Mixed together.
I completely agree with you. My girlfriend and I were talking too, and she's like, I never felt so cultured because, she's on Instagram and she's, she gets to see all of these desserts around the world. And you would have never thought that ube would, come to Vegas, and like I'm working on a mochi donut line, and this is something that people are now more apt to try, or green tea and Thai ice cream, Thai tea ice cream. You're absolutely right. I think that the American palate has definitely changed, and we're willing to just try all these different things, and it's just delicious.
Yes, for sure. I'm from the Philippines, and I grew up eating ube, and and in Hawaii too, probably, right?
Yeah.
And now it's like all over the place. It's now the dessert of choice now.
Correct.
So it's kind of funny because I'm like, wait a minute, I grew up eating this, and we didn't even really think of it as dessert. We just thought of it as ube because it's not sweet by itself. Yeah. It's not inherently sweet.
That was a lot of fun. She sounds awesome. I can't wait to try some of her creations at these different restaurants. So we are going to add something new to each Second Helping show this year to keep you posted on all the new restaurant openings and special events and other happenings in the Vegas food scene. For a while now, I've been writing a weekly column called Quick Bites for our website, and you can find it every Monday at LasVegasWeekly.com. And we're going to review some local food news right here every month, kind of do a podcast version of the Quick Bites. One of the newest announcements is at the Venetian group that runs the Italian restaurant Matteo's, and 6th and Mill is putting a new concept into the 6th and Mill space called, I don't know how to say this, Brea Osteria. It's spelled Brera. That's probably not how you say it. Anyways, this is the location right in St. Mark's Square at the Grand Canal Shops in the Venetian. That was 6th and Mill. I never made it to 6th and Mill, so I can't comment on that food, but this is going to be a little bit more of a diverse Italian experience. And this place is really focused on happy hour. So expect them to have one of the most popular happy hours on the Strip. I think that's definitely what they're going for. You guys had been to Mateo's, right? Maybe it was called something else when you went there and they changed it over.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's really good. Sixth and Mill was also really good. I had a meal there a couple of times. That's also a great location because you're right by that, that big open space there.
Mm-hmm. Well, speaking of Italian food and moving off the strip, one of the most exciting new openings that everybody's talking about is at Tivoli Village. It's Al Solido Posto. It's the new restaurant from Chef James Trees of Esther's Kitchen, and he is teamed up with the Lev Group to take over the giant restaurant space that used to be Brio at Tivoli Village. I did make the trip out there right before they opened and talk to Chef James and see how nice it is in there. I think that's going to be a very popular place this year and a place that everybody's going to be talking about and revisiting for a while to come. But it's not the only new restaurant at Tivoli Village. On the other end, Boston's Fish House has opened, which is kind of a traditional seafood spot, which you don't see a lot of anymore in Vegas, on or off the strip. So it's cool that things keep changing at Tivoli Village. James used to do Ada's there, and that spot is going to reopen, and it's going to be more of a Spanish wine bar concept. And I think that's supposed to open this month as well. So you guys are going to have to make the trek out to the west side and check out all the new stuff at Tivoli.
I will definitely do. That's gonna be in the first on my list to check out.
Have you been to Area 15? Because I have not.
Yes.
So Todd English, the famous chef guy who is coming back to Vegas this year or last year, I guess, he's going to be opening a restaurant at Virgin when it finally opens later this year, a new version of his Olives restaurant. But at Area 15, he's opening this food hall concept just this week called The Beast, which sounds like a pretty interesting combo with all the wild art stuff that's going on down there and making it more of a full experience where you go down and look at cool stuff and then you get some cool drinks and cool food too. I don't know about that place. It's very mysterious to me.
It's definitely an experience. I mean, I went there pretty early on when they first opened, so it wasn't all completely open. I don't know how much they've opened since. It's really interesting. I could probably spend at least a couple of hours there just wandering around. It's definitely a very multi-sensory kind of a place. What do you think, Leslie?
When I went, not a whole lot was open. It was still really early on as well. But, if you want to just go have a drink and kind of like roam around, you can do that. And it's like everything is kind of glowing under a black light and just has this really cool, like, I don't know, not clubby vibe, like if you were an alien, like, what's that? Not the Terminator, that Arnold Schwarzenegger was in Total Recall. It like reminds me of like something that would have been in Total Recall. And there's a cool bar. And then what I remember the most, of course, because it's me, is the ice cream there. There's, I forget what the name is, but there's an ice cream shop inside that is fantastic. And I highly, highly, highly recommend it. It's a little pricey, but if you don't want to drink and you want to go in, check out some artwork and then leave with an ice cream cone, that is the way I would do it.
Is it Emac and Bolio's?
Yes. I remember I was like, it has the weirdest name.
It's some ice cream company out of Boston. Maybe that's good. I'm all about an ice cream cone after some sliders from Todd English's food court. That sounds like a pretty good afternoon. My last little news bit is a closure, a temporary closure. I just wrote about this week in Quick Bites. Mariposa, the new Mexican restaurant on Decatur and Sahara, I believe, has closed for probably a month. They just opened in December, so they haven't been able to operate at a normal capacity. Obviously, they've been doing the 25% thing this whole time and trying to make it work. and it's just a little bit too slow. So they're going to close down for a few weeks and do some renovations and come back, I'm sure, better than ever. I talked to the executive chef. His name's Robert Lomelli last week, and he just got me so excited about their food and how he's making his like family's recipes and bringing a little bit more of a, let's say, elevated Mexican food experience. And it sounded amazing. And I know that's a real cool restaurant space too. So anxious to see what they do at Mariposa when it reopens again very soon. And we'll keep you on top of that. Just keep checking in at LasVegasWeekly.com. Okay, it's time to wrap it up. And that means we have to name the best things that we ate this last month. Genevie, I'm going to make you start because you stole my best thing.
Okay, so one of the things I really have missed is sitting at a sushi bar. And I really, really miss like good sushi, just, fresh, made in front of you. But this might be the second best thing, and it's pretty close to the real deal. Tao started doing a sushi box that they deliver to your house. And it's for $75. They send you a box of sushi, and you don't know what's in it, but you'll have rolls, you'll have some nigiri, you have some edamame. So it's kind of a cool little treat. You don't know what it's in it, so it's kind of like omakase style. So I tried it last week. It was fantastic. And I know, Brock, you also tried it last week. And I thought, sushi can't travel, right? I mean, but it did. It traveled really well. And it was a lot of food for $75. And I just have to, warn people. I think I probably ate it over 2 days because it was a lot of food. But I loved it. Everything was so fresh, just like the whole experience of going to Tao and sitting at the, at the sushi bar there and, having fish made in front of you. I thought it was really good. Oh, can I add one more thing? I just remembered one other thing that I ate this month that I really loved. Vegas Test Kitchen has all these chefs like doing a pop-up. I finally tried the bagels by Sonia El Nawal from Rooster Boy. If you guys haven't been to Bodega Bagel, you should go now. It's so good. I'm far away from downtown, but it's worth the drive. And like every morning, my kid is like, can we go get those bagels, please? It's probably the closest to a New York bagel I've had in Las Vegas. So definitely check it out.
Yeah, that's a big recommendation because bagels are definitely something that we don't have. We don't have a lot of really great bagels in Las Vegas. There's a few places.
No, you don't.
Could always use more.
I was always trying to explain to my kid, Einstein's, no knock on Einstein's, but that's not really a bagel place. I mean, that's more like, I don't know what that is, but I told them that's not really a real bagel. So definitely check out Bodega Bagel. And I'm sure, like Leslie, I know you're close to downtown. You will be there every weekend.
I'm honestly thinking about going there after this call is over. I'm like, a bagel sounds so good right now, like a good, legit bagel.
They also have smoked fish. They also have, they also make sandwiches. What I actually got was an egg sandwich, like a bagel egg sandwich to me is like the perfect breakfast. So that's what I had, which I ate in the car on my way home. And I got a dozen or six bagels to like eat later.
Yes, I will also vouch for the Tao Sushi Box. And I think it's cool that they're doing that in the other cities like New York and Chicago where you can go eat at Tao. You can also get this sushi box delivered to your house. The best thing I ate this month besides sushi was the signature sausage rigatoni dish from Osteria Fiorella at the Red Rock Resort. Once I finally tried this place, this is Mark Vetri's still pretty new restaurant at Red Rock in Summerlin. Once I tried it, I got hooked on it. And for a while, I wasn't doing takeout from any other place. And those were my chunky pasta months. But now I'm back to not eating that every day. Anyways, this is one of my favorite dishes. Very simple, great tomato sauce, giant rigatoni, and this sausage that is really the basis of the whole restaurant concept from Philadelphia. The chef took over this generations old little butcher place that was making this sausage. And turned it into a restaurant in Philadelphia, and then it's turned it into a restaurant in Las Vegas. So if you are trying things out at this place, you got to start with this one, and then everything else is good there too.
I am probably the least adventurous of the bunch just because I haven't really been going out at all. So I've been green chefing at home, but I won't bore you with that. I had Pho Saigon 8 the other day, and, you know, that's a tried and true local staple. There's a couple around, and it's just so good. Like, you get the crispy egg rolls and wrap it in the lettuce and dip it in the sweet and sour. And then just the pho with I get the rare ribeye that cooks in the broth. And yeah, it's just, I was feeling a little like under the weather, and just nothing like hits like that. Plus I love ramen, but pho is like, it's just so much lighter. Mm-hmm. When I leave, I don't feel like, I just ate something super heavy. So that was my favorite thing that I ate, just a nice little treat. I will say I have questions about the sushi thing real quick. So it's $75. Mm-hmm. And then is it enough for 2 people?
I think so. I think it's enough for 3 people, I would say.
It's really for 3 people, yeah.
Okay, because I'm like, that sounds really cute. Like, hey, again, thinking about Valentine's Day coming up, like get a little sushi box delivered to your house, and yes, that I might do that. Keep my voice down.
Rolls and like a bunch of nigiri and like a couple of like little appetizer things. Okay, it's definitely enough for 2 people.
Awesome. That sounds great.
Yeah, that is a good idea for a Valentine's Day delivery option.
Yeah, definitely.
And it really did not feel like you were missing out on the whole, like, being in a sushi restaurant experience. I mean, everything was so just fresh, and, it comes with condiments. It comes with everything you need, and it's just nice little package.
Yeah, it's plenty of food. I may have tried to eat it all myself that first night, but I definitely did not accomplish it. That's all we've got for you this month for Second Helping. Thanks so much for joining us and listening. You can keep listening. You can find past episodes of our show at lasvegasweekly.com/podcast. You can also listen and subscribe to Second Helping on Apple Podcast. Thanks to Karis Kuwana for taking time to talk with Genevie, and thanks, as always, to the great Sonia Barcelona for letting us use her song Violent Water as our theme music. Hey, if you go to artofsonia.com, you can not only check out the new video for Sonia's song Heart Station, you can check out her awesome new merch that she's got online as well. It's artofsonia.com. Thanks to everybody at Las Vegas Weekly. And stay up to date on all of the local food and restaurant news at lasvegasweekly.com. We'll be back next month. Thanks again.